What makes a good build? Is it survivability, ease of use, ability spamming, or maybe it's endless volatile rounds and ignitions for champion stopping power and chaos? What if I told you we could have it all in one Titan build? In today's video, that's exactly what we're going to discuss. So sit back, relax, get some lotion, and wait, what? Who wrote this script? Hello, you beautiful weirdos. How are you today? It's been a minute, I know. I assure you, I'm not dead, but I do want to apologize for being absent. Long story short, life happened, and I moved from the West Coast back to the East Coast unexpectedly, on Lightfall launch day of all days. It kinda sucked. It was a whole ordeal, and yeah. I want to thank you all for being so patient with me, but enough about me, let's talk Destiny. The build I have for you today is basically a new twist on an old classic, and it just so happens to be one of my favorites. I'm talking about the Consecration Ignition Solar build that's all about aggressive gameplay and wiping out everything in our path with fiery explosions. The only difference is, now we get the added bonus of firebolt grenades, volatile rounds, and some nifty artifact mods to accompany it. But first, let's talk about the exotics. We have our choice of two with this one. If you're more into Consecration, then I recommend the Rock'em Sock'em Syntheseps because they give us a 200% increase to our melee damage, which pairs nicely with an overkill solar melee and roaring flames. But if you're more into the grenade side of things and ability spamming, then you can't go wrong with the Hellfire Heart. You thought I was going to say the Heart of Inmost Light, didn't you? No, the Heart of Inmost Light is still good, even after the nerfs, but where it stands right now, it can't compete with the Hellfire Heart when we're on the Solar subclass. We get a 75% boost to our base grenade melee cooldown by just wearing the Hellfire, and a whopping 350% if our super is full. Personally, I prefer the Hellfire with this build because I like ability spamming, but that does require us to not use our super, and not using our super sounds kind of boring. I promise we will more than make up for it though. Now let's talk about the build. Our goal with the mods are to create lots of orbs since they're now the backbone of any build. In return, this will give us a ton of volatility, resistance, recovery, and grenade melee spamming, along with a whole lot of ignitions just to make things a little spicier. Sounds like a lot, I know. Luckily, it doesn't take much in the mod and subclass departments to accomplish this. For the orb creation, we're using Void and Kinetic Siphon on the helmet to create orbs from Void and Kinetic weapons, Firepower on the arms to drop an orb from Grenade and Final Blows, and Reaper on the class item to create an orb from the first weapon kill after using our Barricade, just like Reaping Wellmaker from the old mod system. These 4 mods are more than enough to keep a steady flow of orbs dropping for consistent stacks of armor charges from weapons and grenades, but we're going to take it one step further to make sure we always have armor charges by using the artifact mods Solar Surge and Flare Up. Solar Surge gives us a stack of armor charge when picking up a fire spite, and Flare Up creates a fire spite when we damage targets with our firebolt grenade. Notice how I said damage, not kill. And for anyone who's not sure what a fire spite is, it's one of the new subclass based replacements for elemental wells, and it's tied directly to the Solar subclass. While we're on the subject of artifact mods, we're also going to add in authorized grenade mods to reduce the energy cost of grenade based mods from 3 to 1. This way we have more room on our armor, and Rain of Firebolts to get a second grenade charge for free. I mean, who doesn't want an extra grenade charge, right? We're also using Volatile Flow to give our Void weapons volatile rounds from picking up orbs. This will help us create more chaos from volatile rounds, and more chaos creates more orbs from Void Siphon, so they feed each other. This plays a bigger role when it comes to champions because volatile rounds have been updated to pierce barriers. I know I'm running through this kind of fast, but don't worry, I'll leave an infographic at the end of the video and the dim link in the description. Okay, back to the video. Now that we've established we can have an endless supply of armor charges, we need something to consume them. This is where the fun starts. On the arms, we're using melee and grenade kickstart. These are the bread and butter of the build. I'm really showing my age with that saying. Both of them give us a varying amount of energy back based on how many stacks of armor charge we have, and it's what keeps this build flowing so we can keep spamming abilities. They will consume all stacks, but that's okay because we instantly get stacks back from either Consecration or the Firebolt grenades, and I will come back to that shortly. On the chest, we're using Charged Up to increase the maximum number of stacks we can carry by 1. This mod is stackable, so you have to decide if you want more stacks for faster firebolt grenades and Consecration, or if you want room for the next 2 mods, which are Font of Endurance and Emergency Reinforcement. These 2 are for some added protection by giving us bonus resilience while we have stacks of armor charge, and granting us damage resistance when we hit critical health. Emergency reinforcement will consume all stacks when going critical, so keep that in mind when deciding what mods to use. Moving over to the legs, we're adding stacks on stacks to the mix to grant one additional stack of armor charge for every orb we pick up. This one is good for all the orbs we're going to be creating to help keep stacks of armor charge going at all times. Going back to the fire spites from grenades and consecration, if we look at the solar subclass, there have been a few updates to the fragments. Ember of Searing now creates a fire spite when defeating Scorch targets. This means the Scorch from the Firebolt grenade and the first part of Consecration both create a fire spite upon killing the enemy if they're still scorched. And to make sure we continue getting fire spites from the subclass, we're adding Ember of Ashes and Ember of Char into the mix, which spreads Scorch like a bad case of herpes when causing ignitions. I know I'm gonna lose some subscribers for mentioning the herps, but at least we know who's got them. The last fragment in this build is your choice. If you're an aggressive player, one of the new fragments called Ember of Mercy might work better for you because it grants restoration upon picking up those fire spites that we create from the subclass and artifact mods. But if you're more into scorching and explosions, then I recommend Ember of Eruption to cause bigger ignitions. This will give us more scorch, which will give us more fire spites. As for the rest of the subclass, we can use whatever barricade, jump, and melee we prefer, but in order to make the build work, we will need the aspects Roaring Flames to help cause more damage with our abilities, and Consecration because it'd just be really weird to talk about Consecration the whole video and not use it. I mean, am I wrong? Some great minor mods to complement this whole build are Ashes to Assets on the helmet to get our supers faster when using Hellfire, Innervation and Invigoration on the legs to reduce melee and grenade cooldown when collecting orbs, and Bomber and Outreach on the class item to reduce grenade and melee cooldown when using our class ability. But we're not done yet, oh no. Don't think I forgot about those volatile rounds we spoke of earlier, because volatility makes everything better, kind of like ice cream, I think. For the weapons, I'm addicted to using the Wilder Flight grenade launcher with Repulsor Brace and Disorienting. It's a void weapon, so it gets volatility from volatile flow, it blinds, and gives us an overshield when killing adds that have been debuffed by volatile rounds, which just makes the gun feel stupidly broken in harder content. Plus, having an overshield all the time from Repulsor just feels right. This gun can be acquired from the newest Vex dungeon. I forgot the name of it, sorry. And for the heavy, I swap between Retrofit Escapade and Corrective Measure machine guns because they're both void and mowing things down like Rambo is just fun. Plus, void machine guns are a great way to take advantage of Void Siphon for more orbs, to give us more armor charges, to give us lots of, well, you get the point. The best part about this build, besides being powerful, is the ease of use and the ability to be self-sustaining. It's as simple as using our grenades and Consecration to create fire spites, so we can have more stacks of armor charge. So we can throw more grenades and use Consecration for melee and grenade kickstart. In return, this makes a lot of boom boom from Scorch and ignitions are good for unstoppable champions. Even the volatile round side of this build are self-sustaining. We mow down adds with our void weapons, which create orbs from Void Siphon, so we can collect them and have a ton of volatile rounds from volatile flow, which is good for barrier champions and causing chaos. I seriously can't find a downside to this build. We have options for outrageous amounts of ability spamming, champion stopping power, and survivability if we choose. It's like the jack of all trades Titan build from hell. Anyways, let me know what you think or if you plan on tweaking some parts of it. I love hearing all your ideas. If you found this video helpful, a like would be awesome. But more importantly, be true to yourself, be good to one another, and have a fantastic day, you nerds. Thank you!
I don't fucking take smoke, I'm a poker holder, you choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude, crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently, thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry